So now, friends, we are going to discuss something from the Word of God. You know, this channel is about education, it's about teaching, about inspiration. So for the next few days, I'm going to discuss about things connected with God and man. And today, let me teach you about this creature you call the devil. You know the devil? The devil. The real name of this creature is Satan. We know that Satan lives on earth right now, but we have ever read that he was in heaven. Now I want to talk about how he came on earth, what made him, what brought him here on earth. Now, from the beginning, when he was created, Satan was an angel. Even today, he's an angel. Satan is an angel. And before he rebelled, he was living in a highly exalted position in heaven. Satan was living in heaven. He was not living on earth like he does today. And Satan, before his fall, he was in close connection with God. He was in close connection with Jesus. He was in a higher position than the rest of the angels in heaven. I want to talk about how he fell in heaven. Now, in his appearance, his forehead, this is a forehead, his forehead was high and broad. High and broad. This is height. His width was high and broad. So his forehead was high and broad. Now this is his physical appearance. He was a bit taller than the rest of the angels. Are you with me? Good. He was a bit taller than the rest of the angels. Alikuwa mrefu kuliko wale malaika wengine. And we have said that his forehead was high and broad. He had a powerful intellect. Akili yake ni akili ajabu sana. Ni akili kubwa, na alikuwa na hekima nyingi na hekima kubwa kabla ya kuanguka. His form or his appearance, kuonekana kwake kulikuwa kwa kupendeza sana. Ni kiumbe cha ajabu kwa kupendeza sana. Na alikuwa na umbo la kiumbe kikubwa. He was majestic. He looked noble and majestic. Si kiumbe hafifu ama kinakaa kinyonge, hapana. He appeared noble and majestic. He had a good appearance, physical appearance. Alikuwa na umbo la ajabu. Now, hapa kwa uso wake, in his forehead, something like light was shining here. And it was shining around the face. A special light beam was shining from his face. A special beam of light shining on his face, which was not shining to the other angels. Kulionekana kitu kama mwangaza hapo kwa uso wake ambacho hakikuonekana kwa wale malaika wengine. So Shetani aliumba kiumbe cha ajabu ama malaika wa ajabu kuliko wale malaika wengine. So kuna tofauti ya kimaumbile na wale malaika wengine. And he was one with God. Walikuwa kama kitu kimoja, yeye na Yesu na Mungu Baba kule mbinguni. That is how Satan looked like when he was in heaven. Now, something funny started to happen. The Bible says, you were perfect from the day you were made, until the day that which was not good was found in you. Now that is the origin of sin. That which was not good was found in him, Satan, in heaven. Now the question comes, that which was not good was found in him. Where did it come from? In heaven. And in heaven, there was nothing wrong. In heaven, there was no sin. In heaven, there was no evil. In heaven, everything was perfect and in harmony. How comes that something that was not good was found in him? Where did it come from? That is a mystery of sin. That's why I'm saying sin is a mystery. You cannot explain where sin came from. And if you can explain, then it turns out not to be sin. It becomes something else. Right? Good. Let's go. Now, inside him, he started becoming envious. He became envious. He envied Jesus. He saw how angels worshipped God, how angels honored Jesus. He just looked and watched and he became dissatisfied. Akafikiria hapana, I can also be given this honor. I can also be worshipped the way God is worshipped. Why not me? So he became envious. We have said that which is not good was found in him. Envy was found in him. Envy started eating his inner bones. He started envying Christ. And then he was honored by the other angels. He was honoring God with them, but his heart was not with them. He became envious. Now, this is a good thing. God can read every mind, man's mind and even angel's mind. When he was conceiving such ideas, God knew, because he is God and God knows everything. Right from the word thought, he can read our thoughts, not only actions. He can read an angel's thoughts. So he read his thoughts at an early stage. And he knew when he was becoming envious, when he was cooking this inside him, God was aware. And God knew that this angel is planning something evil. So God was aware. So these events did not get Jesus, oh God, by accident. He was aware of what was cooking around. Now, what happened? Listen. God assembled all heavenly hosts. In heaven we have angels. And there are people in heaven, even as we speak. There are people living in heaven right now as we speak. And we know 1 or 2, 3 of them. We know them. We can name them. We can name Moses. We can name Elijah. We know some of the people who live in heaven right now. So in heaven, and the Bible says, there are elders in heaven. There are people in heaven. So there are people in heaven. There are angels in heaven. That's what we know in the Bible. So God assembled all the heavenly hosts. He called all creatures in heaven, men, people and angels. He assembled them at a point. Why did he assemble them? He assembled them to confirm to them that Jesus, his son, is the only one to be honored. His son was seated on his throne, on God's throne. Remember, the Bible tells us that Jesus sits on the right hand side of his Father in heaven. So he assembled the heavenly hosts to confirm to them that Jesus was equal to him. And he was the only one who was supposed to be worshipped and highly honored. He made known to all the heavenly hosts that no other angel should assume the honor that Jesus assumes. No other angel should assume the worship that Jesus, his son, assumes. Are we there? So this meeting was to confirm to all creatures in heaven who Jesus was and who Jesus is, even today. Remember, Satan was there in this meeting. And as this confirmation was being done, the envy was growing inside him. The envy was growing. He was becoming dissatisfied every day, every moment. So when this was done, he became more envious. He became more jealous of Christ in heaven. You see? So he asked himself, why should he himself be honored? Why should Christ himself be honored? And remember, he was in a highly exalted position than the rest of the angels. So he thought that this honor could also be confirmed to him. So this made him more jealous. It made him more envious. He became extra jealous and extra envious of Jesus. So when the other angels were bowing down to Jesus, he bowed with them, but his heart was not in that worship. As they were giving homage to Jesus, he was doing it with the other angels, but his heart was full of envy, full of jealousy, and full of hatred. And all this, God was aware. God was seeing it. God was reading his mind. And God was very much keen on what was happening. What happened? Christ was acknowledged as the highest in heaven by God. And he confirmed this in that meeting. Because everybody was there to understand who Jesus was. Jesus is the Son of God. That was confirmed in heaven. Jesus and God held a council, which Satan, this time round, was not permitted to enter. And he was not even informed of this council. This made him very bitter. It made him more envious. This council was convened to acknowledge the supremacy and the sovereignty of Jesus in heaven. In that his power and God's power was the same. Because the Bible says Jesus is God. And being God, his power and God's power is the same. So this council, this meeting, was confirming the power of Jesus. The angels were being informed who Jesus is and who Jesus was in heaven. And in this council, Satan was not permitted to enter. He did not attend this council. So this made him full of bitterness and jealousy. Satan thought himself a special angel. Now listen. He thought that he was a favorite angel and the rest. He thought, but was he? We shall know as we go on. He thought that he was a favorite angel in heaven. He thought that special honor should be conferred to him. He just thought. He just imagined himself being special than the rest. Have you ever imagined yourself being special than the rest of us in this world? That's the beginning of your fall. He imagined himself and thought of himself being special, being the best than the rest. And he started conducting seminars amongst the angels. He started conducting seminars and teachings, telling them that he should as well be worshipped the way Jesus, God's Son, is worshipped. He knew that he was in a high position, but this position did not satisfy him. He wanted to be in the position Jesus was. So hii maneno ya mtu kutaka kiti cha mbele haijaanza saa hii hapa duniani, ilianza mbinguni. Hii maneno ya kutaka kuona mtu kwa kiti haijaanza hivi juzi, ilianzia mbinguni. So when you find yourself in that position, don't worry, haijaanza saa hii, ilianzia mbinguni, imeanzia mbali. So if you ever find yourself in such a position, with such kind of a thinking, know that you are now traveling the same road that Satan traveled when he was in heaven. And what was the result? We shall see it as we go. Now, Satan left the presence of God, of the Father, very much dissatisfied. But he concealed his intentions. He was concealing his bitterness. He was concealing his envy. He was concealing his dissatisfaction. So when the meeting was over, he left the meeting and went. What did he do? Listen. He went and assembled the other angels. Remember, he had power in heaven. He was in a higher position than the rest of the angels. So Satan went and assembled the other angels, all of them. He called a meeting because he had that power. He called a meeting. Satan called a meeting in heaven. He called the rest of the angels in heaven and assembled them. What was the agenda of this meeting? He was introducing to them an agenda. Which was the agenda? The agenda was himself. And he was telling them that God had given Jesus power which could also be given to him. That was the agenda. He introduced to them his intention of being worshipped. He was introducing to them the idea that he was in the same position with Jesus in heaven. This was the agenda of this meeting. And he related what God had given, what the kind of power God had given to Jesus, and told them that this power could also be given to him. This was saying in that meeting. God was not there, but he was aware, because he can read the mind of any creature. He can read the minds of angels, the minds of men, such kind of things. God is all-knowing. That is one of his qualities. We shall talk about the qualities of God in this forum. God was aware of this meeting, and he was aware of what was being discussed in this meeting. He was aware. He was not in attendance, but he was aware. Nothing can be hidden from God. Actually, nothing, whether in heaven, on earth, or under the earth. Everything is open before his eyes. So he was aware of this meeting, and he was aware of what was being conducted in this meeting. So the devil or Satan stated to the angels that he would no longer bow down and give honor to Jesus. He could no longer do that. He told them that for Jesus to be appointed over them, Jesus is the commander in heaven. So Jesus to be being commander in heaven and over the other angels, this was the source of their happiness. He told the angels that they were unhappy because this person called Jesus was overruling them. He was pressing them down. So he was trying to tell them that if he was removed and another one takes the power, they would live a happy life. You see, he was trying to prove how Jesus was a source of unhappiness in heaven. He was trying to prove to the other angels that Jesus was the source of all the trouble in heaven, like there was trouble in heaven. Really? He was trying to show how heaven is in chaos, which was not the case. Satan was bringing up an idea to these angels which did not exist before. We said that that which was not good was found in him initially. Now, that which was not good is what is now being poured out. This is what now he's telling the angels. Which was not good is now being spoken, is being now made manifest to all the heavenly hosts. He was trying to put a dark image to Jesus and show the other angels how Jesus is bad. This was the agenda of this meeting, remember. This was the agenda of this meeting. Satan told them that if he took the seat that Jesus was taking, if he became the commander and the majesty of heaven, there will be happiness in heaven, like there was not happiness in heaven. He told them that there would be peace in heaven. Which other peace? And they were already peaceful. He told them that if they followed him and they obeyed him, they would live in perfect harmony and perfect happiness. They are already living in happiness. They are already living in peace. Everyone was all in harmony. But now another idea is being brought up that they are not happy. It's kind of confusion. So hii maneno ya mtu anasema mimi nikichukua uongozi mimi ndio nitawasaidia. Mimi nikichukua uongozi mimi peke yangu ndio nitawafaidi. Whatever kind of leadership mimi ndio nitasaidia vizuri. Whenever you hear someone using such statements, now you know the origin. You know where such statements began. You know who began them. Now you know. Now you know where such statements originated. You know who came with such ideas. Now you know. Very well you know. That's a goodness now. Now you know. Let me tell you what happened in heaven. Out of that meeting, there was a lot of commotion in heaven. There was a lot of contention. And you know what? Angels followed him. Quite a number of them went on his side. They sympathized with him. They sympathized with him. He came with an explanation and an analogy that fitted them. He confused them to an extent that they followed him. He confused them to an extent that they believed him. And many angels believed that Satan was on the right side. And they believed that God was present and God was the source of unhappiness in heaven, which was not the case. Now, the angels were divided into two. Some followed him, some did not. And a large number followed him. But the angels who did not follow Satan in his ideas tried to convince him that whatever he was doing was not right. Whatever he was trying to achieve was not good. Not good for him and not good for everyone in heaven. They tried to tell him and to convince him to stop this kind of thing he was cooking up. But he could not stop. He dared not stop. They tried to show him how Jesus and how God was good in heaven. But he said no. God is never good. In fact, were it not for him, we will be living in perfect harmony. He said never. I can never submit to his will again. I can never submit to God again. He said you could not. Because he thought himself an equal with God in heaven. Now, what happened? The angels tried to tell Satan that despite the fact that power was conferred upon Jesus in heaven, this did not disqualify him from his current position. He remained to be an angel higher above them. They tried to convince him that whatever he was doing was actually out of God's mind, out of God's will. And actually whatever he was doing was wrong. But Satan could not retract from his way. He could not stop achieving his dream. They tried to move him to stop this wicked intention. They tried to move him to stop this kind of designs and wickedness. Actually, this is called rebellion. Imagine someone waking up one day and says that I want to be the president of this country. I want to be the president of this country. I'm speaking from an East African country. I'm in one of the Eastern African countries right now if you speak. Imagine someone waking up and telling us that I want to be the president of this country, while a president is already in power. That is called rebellion. This is what Satan tried to do in heaven. This was called rebellion. And this is the source of rebellion even today. This is the source of rebellion. It began in heaven, not on earth. Satan refused to listen to what was happening, to what he was being taught by the other angels. He completely refused to listen. He could not listen. He could not listen. What did he do? Satan promised the angels a new, a good, and a better government. This makes me happy. Satan was promising heaven a new, a better, and a good government. Already there's a government existing. Already God is in power. Already there is peace in heaven. There's happiness in heaven. But Satan comes and tells them that I will give you a good government. I will serve you better. I will give you happiness. I will give you peace. Have you not ever seen this happening in our world today? Someone wakes up and tells them, if you elect me, I will give you a better government. I will give you a good education. I will give you money. I will give you employment. I will give you this. I will give you that. I will give you everything. Someone runs up and tells us that I'm the best. So and so is not good. I'm the one. So siasa haianzia duniani watu wangu, ilianzia mbinguni, ilianzia mbali. Hiyo maneno ya mtu kusema mimi ndio mzuri kuliko mwingine ni ya mbali, si hapa duniani, ilianzia mbali. Mimi ndio ninaweza, so and so hawezi. Mimi ndio kiongozi, mimi ndio mzuri, mimi ndio naweza fanya hii, so and so hakufanya hii, mimi nitafanya. Hakufanya ile, mimi nitafanya. Yeye hako hivi, mimi siko vile. Such kind of a commotion started in heaven, and it began with an angel called Satan. Actually, his real name was not Satan. He was called Lucifer in heaven. Lucifer means the morning star. Lucifer, that was his original name in heaven. After he fell, that's when he acquired the name Satan. Now, he convinced them that a good government is on the way. A good government is coming. Well, a good government is coming. You see, that is where people make mistake. If someone comes up and confuses you that he is better than the rest. Now imagine now Satan is confusing angels that he was better than God. God created him, and now he is telling them that he is good than God. Wow, that's great. He was promising them a better government with good goodies and with everything good. Now listen what happened. A great number went with him. And they accepted his idea, and they followed him. He became so happy seeing that he had followers, he had sympathizers. He became so happy, and he flattered himself that he would win. Very soon that he would win. Again, he was warned by the loyal angels. Remember, a great number followed him, but some angels remained behind. These were the loyal angels. Even when a coup is being planned, there are loyal soldiers and there are rebellious soldiers. So the loyal angels tried to convince Satan again that he was on the wrong side. But could he stop? Never. On what account? He could not. So he carried along with his plan. He went ahead to conduct his mission. In fact, what he was trying to do was a coup d'etat. Yeah. He was trying to overthrow a sitting government to form another one, which he was proposing to be a better one. To think that an angel would resist God in heaven was unimaginable. We said that that which was not good was seen and was found in him. Whatever it came from is still a mystery to date. No one can explain it except God alone where sin came from. He defied the warnings. He could not listen. He could not hear. He went ahead and told them that he was acquainted with God's law. Satan told the angels that he was very much aware of God's law. And he said that he obeyed God any longer, his power would be taken away from him. He thought that by worshiping God, he was giving away his honor. He became proud and thought that by worshiping God any longer, he was giving himself as weak, which was not the case. Worshiping God and being obedient takes nothing away from you. He was telling them that if they gave him chance to rule them, he would make them happy. Were they not happy? That was the same statement he came and taught to Adam. I will teach you that one day when we get there. But now, things were getting up. Politics were now being cooked up in heaven at a higher level. So the angels became confused, and there was commotion in heaven. Now, Satan felt that he had gone too far. He told the loyal angels that he had gone too far with his mission, and he could not retract. He could not pull aside and start honoring God and Jesus. He told them, I am far ahead. I am far gone, and I cannot lower myself again to honor and worship God. He said he could not do that. He could not dare do such a thing. He thought that he had gone too far, that he could not worship Jesus again. You see, that's a problem now. Pride. He became too proud. Too proud that he felt that he could not worship again in heaven. God, remember, is still aware. The angels now went and told their commander, Jesus, of what was happening on the other side. They narrated everything to their commander, to their leader. And at this point, now there was war in heaven. Now that's why you find the statement in Revelation chapter 12 that there was war in heaven. There was war in heaven, and God fought with this rebellious angel. There was war and there was commotion in heaven. There was pushing here around with one another in heaven. This happened because someone did not submit to the rule of law which was there. You cannot live without the law. There must be law and order for things to run smoothly. But Satan thought that this is wrong. And now a plan was made to overthrow him. But God did not at once throw Satan out of heaven. No. He kept him there, well aware of his intentions. He did not throw him right away when he started his mission. He kept him there because he wanted everyone in heaven, every angel in heaven, to learn from what was happening. Because the angels were confused. They didn't know. They didn't know which was right, which was not right. They were confused. So that's why God kept him there, for them to learn. He kept him there until his mission was almost accomplished. Now the highest crime was to rebel against the government of heaven. That is the basest crime anyone, even today, can commit. To rebel against God is the highest crime you can ever commit. Are you with me? All heaven now seemed in commotion. All heaven now seemed in trouble. There was no harmony again in heaven. Now, God now called another meeting. He summoned everyone for a meeting now. He called everyone to a meeting. He wanted to determine the case once and for all. He wanted to make a ruling once and for all. That's why he summoned everyone now in heaven. Satan appeared in this meeting. What did he do? He confidently stated his mission before God now. He told him face to face. Unblushingly, he told him. He explained his intention to God, face to face. And he explained his dissatisfaction in worshiping Jesus. And he told them that the honor which was conferred upon Jesus could as well be conferred upon him. And he stated that he could as well be worshipped like God. He proudly stated that he was equal with God, which was not the case. Who has ever been equal with God? Who? Whether in heaven or on earth. Who? Which creature is equal to God? Satan here now has gone too far. Which creature is equal to God? Which one? Do you know any? You can forward him to me his name or her name, or even the angel which is greater than God, because I have never heard of, I have never read anywhere any creature equal with or to God. Satan now stated that he is equal to God. God once again reminded Satan that it was Jesus alone who could enter his counsels. It was Jesus alone who could be worshipped. It was Jesus alone who could be highly honored in heaven, not any other angel. Things now are getting worse. Satan stated that he could no longer bow down to Jesus. He clearly put that he could no longer submit to Jesus. He could no longer do that at whatever cost. He plainly stated that he could not do it. He could not take it. Why should he take it? This one thing he did before God, he pointed to him that he had followers. And you know what? Half of the angels in heaven had followed him. What? This is great. Half of the angels in heaven had followed Satan in his decision. And he told them. Now, God told Satan that he would soon expel him from heaven. Satan turned and asked God, will you also expel all these followers? Will you also expel all these angels who are following me from heaven? He was bold enough to ask God such a question. Will you also expel them from heaven? What? He stated once again that he was ready. He was ready to defy God's authority. He was ready to resist whatever rule of law was existing. He stated at this meeting that he was ready not to follow Jesus and to honor him anymore. He plainly stated that. Now, God told him that if he had chosen to be rebellious, he could no longer remain in heaven. Now this is his fault. If he could no longer obey the rule of law in heaven, then he could no longer be a citizen in heaven. Simple and clear. And even his angels who had followed him, they also termed to be rebellious, and they could also no longer remain in heaven. Nobody rebellious can never stay near God. With the rebellion, God is away from that. So this rebellious group could no longer remain in heaven. This rebellion continued growing, and the intentions of this wicked angel grew bold and bold every passing moment. And he was still expressing his contempt, his envy, his jealous against Jesus. Whenever he could see Jesus being worshipped, he could not take it. He felt so envious. He became so bitter at the honor which was being conferred upon Jesus Christ. He became so bitter. Now, the happiness of heaven depended upon the obedience of God's law. Even in our countries today, the happiness of citizens depends on the obedience to the Constitution. If you are not obeying the Constitution, then you can no longer be a citizen of that country. You have to be expelled from that country and go to I don't know where. Because for you to remain in a certain country, you have to follow the rule of law which is stated there. And if you can't follow that, then you are no longer fit to be a citizen of such society. You have to be removed and expelled from that community. That was the case with Satan in heaven. Now, Jesus and God conducted a special seminar and stated that all those who are on his side, he made a division that who are following Satan should go to his side, and who are following God should remain on his side. And that was done in heaven. Once again, Satan was given time to repent. Satan was given time to retract from his decision. Satan and his followers were given time to come back to their senses and realize that they are on the wrong side. But their time was quickly expiring in heaven. Their time was quickly running away. So what could be done to them? Well, it was a problem. Merely a problem. Now what happens? There was conflict in heaven. The Bible tells us that there was conflict and there was war in heaven. Michael and his angels fought with Satan and his rebellious angels. There was war, there was conflict, there was fight in heaven. And Satan and his angels were expelled from heaven. That is how Satan came to live with us here on earth. Are you with me? Yes. That is when now Satan came to live on this planet. There are so many things I can explain from that, but for now, I'm saying that is how Satan was expelled from heaven. Between heaven and our earth, there are a lot of things which happen here in between, but that for another day. That for another day. He did not come straight here, but that for another day. For today that we are saying he was expelled from heaven since he could no longer obey, since he could no longer conform to the rule of law in heaven. There was a loss in heaven, and the loss was felt all over in heaven. There was mourning in heaven, since the peace and harmony had been broken in heaven. Some angels now have been expelled forever from heaven. Another group has remained in heaven. There was mourning. There was silence and mourning and sadness in heaven. Remember, when they were expelled from heaven, God also did not kill them. He has preserved them to date. We are still learning from them. The angels are still learning from this fall. Because if they were expelled and exterminated completely from the face of the earth, the angels in heaven could not learn who was wrong and who was right, because many of them had followed him. So he has been kept alive even today, so that all heaven and all earth can learn from this rebellion, and can learn from this angel where sin began. So he is alive as a lesson to the universe. He is alive as a book to be read by everyone who would care to read from him, so that you cannot make the same mistake with a figure to learn from. He was expelled from heaven and down to earth. After he was expelled from heaven, God decided to put man on earth. Man was created. Now, when he was expelled from heaven, man was on earth, and he had been warned that a new angel was looming around. So man was created. Man was on earth, as Satan and his group were being expelled from heaven. But that for another day. Today we are only learning the fall of Satan. He fell because he could not obey. So obedience made this creature to be expelled from heaven. Rebellion is what pushed Satan away from heaven. Is what made him to be expelled from heaven. Purely rebellion. He became rebellious. He could not obey God in heaven. That's how he fell. Did you know that? Now you know. We are still continuing with our teachings, and we are going to discover what happened after he fell, where he went after he was expelled from heaven. We are going to learn that for the next few days. So keep tuned to this channel. Please, members, subscribe as you watch. Invite your friends to subscribe and watch this channel. There's a lot of teachings and a lot of inspiration. If you still have questions, comments, you can post them there. They are highly acceptable, they are highly recommended, and we shall handle them as they come. We shall handle them in the best way possible. Continue learning from this channel. Continue being educated from this channel, and continue rising up. Don't commit the same mistake Satan committed in heaven. Don't fall, because now you have learned from him.